the setup we have for crush and boom and these other indices. So now try to show you on how you can actually use this same setup for crush and boom. So if you have a setup, you probably have something like this, or it basically have a black background. That depends on how you want to use it, but the setup will basically be like this. So how do you read this chart? So reading this chart is basically easy. So this is boom 500. So what we do with boom 500 is we always go for buys. With boom 500 we always go for a buy. We don't sell on boom 500 because our interest now is basically catching these spikes. That's our main interest. So like you have seen, the charts have actually, the trend has actually been up for a while now. So starting from this point here, it has actually been up, it has been going up. So how do you get the reading for this one? So the first reading you get get that line first. Okay, lines. Okay, so the first reading you get, or the first option you would actually need to see when the trend is changing or when you're about to make a buy, it's basically this should be your first chart. So the uptrend actually started from this green candle, which is here. So the first option you check is this area here. When this blue line actually meets all the band on this level where it says oversold and it's the strong part, when all the lines actually meet here, that basically becomes your first indication that you are about to make a buy. Your second indication is when the channel commodity index reaches the strong buy area. So it has to be in between the strong buy and the buy. It has to be in between this same small gap here. So when this indicator, the CCI, is in between here down below on the buy, and then your RSI here, it's actually showing that all the bands are actually meet. This now becomes a very good trading point in our case. So let's come back here. So this will actually become a very good trading point. So you have point number 1 here, where the first actually meet up, and then point number 2 here, where it was actually in between the buy and the strong buy here. When it reaches like this, you basically place a buy and then you wait for a spike. In most cases, it will usually take about between 1 to 3 candles before a spike happens. So make sure that you actually put standard lot size depending on the leverage you have. So you place your buy 1 candle, because it will actually be somewhere there. That's when the indication was actually shown. So you put your buy there when the first band actually met, and then the CCI also was below there. So when you put your buy there, you just wait 1 or 2 candles and then boom, it will actually start going up. So like we had noticed here, you had a spike here, it came down, then a spike there, tries to came down, immediately reach this line, then the spike continued up to this level, and then they have actually been going all the way up to this end where they are. But our purpose for that is not to actually go all the way up, no. So we basically have the first spike you get something. If you want, you can close, you can wait for the second spike. If the blue line is still showing that it's actually going up, when the blue line is showing that it's still going up, then it basically means that you can actually let it continue going. So like it is here, the bands have actually made on this very same level, so there might be a spike here. But remember, when they are up here, we are basically reluctant on when we are going to buy, because it has already gone on the overboard here. So we are now starting to thinking of selling. But remember, this is boom 500, so we don't sell on this one. This one we only buy. So when it reaches this level, we basically don't buy. We have to wait for these bands to actually come down again, so that we are able to make a good buy on them. So this is how you would actually place trades with boom. The same is okay with the crash, only that with crash you actually change the scenario. With crash you are actually selling. So boom 500 you buy, crash 500 you sell. The conditions are the same. So for instance, we had a condition here which occurred. So you had the blue line meeting with the band here. So you see it actually met about 2 candles before a spike occurred. So you would actually place a trade somewhere there. It would have gone up and then it would actually came down. So this was the first indication that it's about to go down, and then here was the second indication that's about to go down again. So when it actually comes here, when you have got these conditions, these two conditions here, then it simply means that it's about to come down, and there it actually came down below there. So this is how you would actually read the chart there. Yes. So with this setup, you basically wait for it, because you have already seen the blue line has actually started going down, and on this level here it has actually passed the take profit point. So if you want, you can now close your trades. If you had opening trades, you can now close your opening trades. But remember, the CCI here, it's still on the upside, so it will be going down anytime soon. So you would have, if you want, you can wait, but if you want, you would have already made profit from this spike and then this spike. So you would have made something already on this very spike. So this one, you actually wait for it to actually meet on the way up there, and then you start selling, and then you would actually have made something between the spike. So the idea here is to catch the spikes, not to trade against them. If you trade against them, if we start buying here, you can make profit, but it actually becomes a bit more dangerous, because meaning that if you make a buy here and then you start making smaller profits, then a spike occurs, it will take you into very big losses. So meaning that the winning ratio here, or the risk ratio, is actually very high. That's why on crash we don't buy, we only sell, because when we sell here, we are actually catching spikes there. So this guy is still going down, and then we wait for him. When this blue band and when these bands here and the blue one meet again on top there, then we're actually making a buy. So you see, we have had these conditions. We had this other condition where we had a spike. We were here, so here they actually had to meet, and then the two conditions were there, they met, and then it came down like that. So all these conditions where the blue line and the band actually meeting and the CCI are meeting, it's actually areas where you actually get those confirmations. So you see it's always 1 to 2 candles which are always there before the spike occurs. So you just always have to wait for these spikes to happen, or for these conditions to be made for you to press a trade. So this is how you press. This is actually super comfortable, and your risk reward ratio is actually very good, because what you risk you actually get more and you actually lose less, because you're actually catching spikes, not trading against them. So with crash 500 we sell, and then with boom 500 we actually buy. So these are the conditions on how you can actually trade with crash and boom. You can do the setup which I actually sent you, and then see how these conditions are met, and then make your trade. So the way it is here, I can't make a sell. I don't want to risk my account, so what I'll do, I'll just wait for this condition until these bands come down here, and then they decide to go up. When they meet on the overbought line here, and then this band and the blue one meet, then I'll start thinking of starting selling there. The same happens with this guy here. I'll actually become comfortable in buying when these bands actually come down here, or every time they meet, that's when you can buy. So the conditions for boom are actually not that good for buying at the moment, because it has actually been an uptrend, meaning that it will actually come down very soon. You can actually do that by even checking the time frame. Always try to put it into 1 hour time frame and actually see what is happening on the main chart. So you see we have been having an uptrend going up, but it will soon start coming down, because the bands here have already met on the overbought areas here. So meaning that this guy is still going up, might be still going up, but not that much confident into buying into buying him, because it has already reached the overbought level there, and the CCI, it's actually saying it will be going down, or it's now on its way down. So at this point I won't be interested into buying this until the conditions, my conditions are met. I only look for positions when the band actually reaches the down part here, because you see if the band actually reaches down there, you actually have a lot of buying opportunities where it's actually going to go up. The same happened here when the band reached this level in the 1 hour time frame. It was actually very good trade to place and your buying streak. So always observe that every time the band reaches down, that's when you can actually start thinking of your buying position, rather than when it's actually up there. So I'll wait for it until it reaches that same level. That's when I'll actually do my bidding now. So as it stands, I won't trade anymore. I'll wait for these conditions whereby this band is actually down there, so that I can actually make trades there. But you notice that in 1 minute time frame, you are actually going to have a lot of spikes actually happening on this same occasion. So if you want, you can trade, but it depends on how you how you figure your risk. But remember, it's not about how many number of trades you are going to make, but it's all about the perfect trade which you make. So instead of risking your account, it's better you trade with good conditions. So for boom 500, I won't be able to trade it at the moment until my conditions are met. This is why your discipline has actually to take effect. Only trade when your conditions are met. If you are trading there, you'll be making profit, but it actually becomes risky, because your profit will be made in smaller bits, and then with a bit of higher probability for losses. But we don't want that, so we'll actually just wait for those conditions to be met on both levels. So this is how you would actually trade crash and boom. So I hope this will be helpful. Do the setup and then wait for this condition, and then we'll see how we can actually make trades happening together. Thank you. Good afternoon.